Have you ever had either students in your courses or students you might have met somewhere else on the campus say to you, why do we have to keep studying this? Why do we keep looking back? All it does is continue to reopen a sore. Why don't we forget it and move on to better things?
Well, the students who come to my courses, which are juniors and seniors, are coming, particularly the May 4th course, because they want to find out as much as they can about it. So no, not in the course. Indeed, I have one student said this course should be required of everybody in the university. The students who say, let's forget about it, are quite often freshmen, sophomores who really haven't gotten into it. We had a very famous football player who said, when I first came here, I was for the Guard, and when I left here 4 years later, I was for the students. I think what he meant by that, he had learned a lot. And I think there's clearly a learning factor that goes on. But there are clearly students who are worried about their degree and the kind of image. And I feel more sorry for the faculty who are pursuing their own research from Voltaire to physics and yet have to deal with Kent State. Now, I don't mind dealing with Kent State and explaining May 4th and things like that, but I'd rather be known for my research on fan violence, okay? I went to England to give a seminar on my crowd research about soccer crowds, and I had to deal with May 4th, okay? And many of my colleagues have that same problem.
It's with you wherever you go.
That's right, that's right. It's on your badge, it's on your passport.
Why should we remember Kent State? Why should we remember May 4th, 1970?
Well, we've got a situation where the power structure at that point in time was very much oriented towards law and order. And what happened at Kent was basically an abuse of law and order. It just didn't happen at Kent. You had Orangeburg, you had abuse of power in Berkeley, where was it, Cornell University, they had problems all over the country. And then we went through a period of time after that where law and order was still important, but they did a reorganization of how they dealt with civil disturbances and with large groups and how they worked with controlling behavior in those large settings. Now we're in a situation where we've got an administration that's very much attuned, not attuned, but they're very much wanting to have control and to use their force and to maybe ignore some of these things that happened in the past and create civil rights type situations that might not be very good for people's general welfare. I think we're leaning in and looking in on another era when people want to abuse the strength and power that elected officials and government officials have.
You're saying, in short, you see some historical similarities between now and 15 years ago.
Yeah, very much so.
Does that concern you a great deal?
It concerns me a great deal.
No one really likes to have real pain dredged up, and no one likes to be confronted with that all of the time. On the other hand, it is history. It is the past. If we really fail to learn from the lessons of the past, then the future is in serious jeopardy. And I think the real role of the university is to protect the future through a clear understanding of the past. So I understand the feeling that says, yeah, let's forget about this and maybe it'll go away. On the other hand, reality is such that it won't go away and that it shouldn't.
If there is one overriding lesson that May 4th, 1970 teaches us, what would you like to have the people learn from that date?
Well, I think we must continue to examine the nature of force that's used in our society. And I think that's what a democracy is about. And I think we need to all commit ourselves to examining the kind of arming and the kind of possibilities of violence that the police and National Guard and Army has in our society. And so I think the death of the 4 students continually raises that issue. What kind of force is used in a democracy?
It has been said that the killings at Kent State served as a watershed in our involvement in Southeast Asia. That May 4th, 1970 brought the war home more forcefully than any other incident, and people were horrified at the results. Well, now we are to build a memorial to that event, a permanent reminder that when power, fear, and common sense are out of control, terrible consequences can occur. May 4th, 1970 was a long time ago, but its lessons are as timely as this morning's headlines. For Focus, I'm Jim Sayer.
Stay tuned for a fascinating look at the scientific future.